Good morning, gentlemen. Today, and in subsequent few videos, I would be trying to attempt to explain what is a situation, what are its characteristics, how does it affect us, that is, how does our perception change by looking at the situation, and how do we act or react, either react or we respond to the situation. Starting today, I would simply be talking on what the situation is. I think, gentlemen, though we have been talking about situation for quite some time, but situation is the latest subject of research. Till 2015, not very many literatures were available on the subject. Thanks to Rauthmann, who is a person who is instrumental in progressing research in this particular field. A lot of work is yet to be done. So starting with, we must really understand what a situation is. Situation, as for Rauthmann, he has decided as situation is a set of fleeting. That is, fleeting means lasting for a very small, short duration time, dynamic and momentary circumstances that do not lie within a person. That is, they are neither their own mental process nor their own behavior, but in their surrounding. Or in simple words, we can say situation constitutes everything that is outside the person. A person, who is person? A person psychologically is made of, we have got goals, we have got motives, we have got values, we have got interests, skills, abilities, and situation are everything else, including other people, but not us. But the problem comes up, in spite of the fact the situation is outside to us, but it is the situation which creates all the problem to us. Our perceptions changes, it has got its own impact. Our behavior changes based upon the situation. Now you imagine, we all, quite a people have attended SSB. SSB is supposed to be a psychological test, wherein a psychological test is conducted about TAT, WT, SRT. What is that WT? What is the TAT? They give you certain impulse, that is photographs. That photograph is a situation. When you look at the situation, it has got certain impact on you. And that is how those particular impact forces you to think in a particular direction and makes you or forces you to behave in a particular manner. Same goes with the GTO. You look at a task is given to you, that itself is a situation. Looking at the task, you start thinking how to solve it or how to go about it. When you go to interviewing officer, he asks you so many questions, starting from your school days to now. When he asks you, then you start thinking, why is he asking the situation? So he's creating a situation there. So a situation basically had three information. We call it cues, characteristics, and classes. Now, first and foremost, what do you understand cues? Cues is what it is certain phenomena, certain thing which is available to you. It gives a certain inkling what that item is. So situation consists of objectively quantifiable stimuli. When we saw a picture in TAT, a word in WAT, or certain booklets are given to you to act or react for situation reaction test, that is the stimuli. It can be picture, words, SRT, illumination, noise, person, trees, anything can be there. Now the problem comes up here. It may be perceived and interpreted by a person yielding psychological situational characteristics. Now, this situation, though it was outside us, of the individual, but this is the situation which creates all the problem for us, because we start interpreting those situations in our own way, depending upon our own psychological well-being. It has got certain characteristics. Now, So there has all these situations have also been grouped in certain classes. It can be medical situation, travel, happiness. So many things are there. It's still a work. It's an ongoing work. Now, in order to find out, the cues can be classified by as per the Noftel and Gust in the 5 per person, that any person other than us: events, activities, roles, location, and state. Though they say state in which you enter, they state the emotional state which you enter. Naturally, it is something personal to me. So there is a controversy: should this state be taken as an input to the cues or not? Since it is outside us, outside it is inside us, and we say cues that the situation is outside us. Hence, that's the reason they say many people don't take this state as a part of the cues. Now, once having gone, we have got a cues. So we must understand what are these characteristics. Characteristics mean what? What is the qualities or attributes of the situation? Who gives those qualities and attributes? It's me, that we as a person. It has nothing to do with the situation. Situation only generates, it is a stimulus which starts correlating with your past experience, depends on your personality, your thought process, and what was your development, and your own personal attributes. You start perceiving that situation in your own way. So the situation may be same, but perception of different person will always be different. Okay, so this allows for a different psychology of situation, where each situation can be described and compared on a continuous basis. So it is something like, as we say, our personality is defined by Big Five or other personality traits. Similarly, a situation is described by its own characteristics. Characteristics or psychologically meaningful interpretation of situation form from single or multiple cues can affect our case, will have to be processed implicitly and explicitly. Implicitly by our own thought process. Explicitly depend upon circumstance, environment which is this situation has been placed. So now, there's a famous, they call it first taxonomy came back December 2015. They call it diamonds. Diamonds means duty. Does work need to be done? That situation that can be created, it should indicate it's a part of duty. Should it is to be done or not? Does it require intellect for processing that input, that is stimuli that is given to us? Or does it create adversity? Probably when you're walking in a storm, that is stimuli given naturally. It's a storm with adversity. When you going around somewhere and you see a person trying to, you photograph showing a person firing a bullet at a person, so that becomes your adversity. Mating, does the situation involve romantic potential in a good relationship? That is what mating really means. Positivity, is it seen for enjoyment? Is it emotional negative situation? Probably then you see a picture of no accident. It's a negativity. Deception. Can you look at a person looking, trying to peep into your house? That is a good deception. Sociability. Does it create environment of socially good relationship or not? Having seen that, round, gentlemen, these dimensions first came into play. They called it replicate level 6. Means they are the 6 type of what you can say perception it tries to create. Looking at the situation, look at the situation that is given to you. Any situation, you're walking across, you see a person. So it may be probably if a person is outside, you've never seen, and it is carrying a probably knife. Probably it may be he's trying to have a go at me, or probably he's trying to harm me. So that's a threat. Suddenly you're going across it, you find flood has come in front of you, that creates a stress. So it's depending on the situation. So they could represent their threat, that is, does the situation pose a threat, problem, obstacle, risk, etc., or does it create a stress or frustration? You are unable to do a job. Task, does it require us to perform a job? Does it require us to process intellectually or physically? Some sort of output has to be given. Does this situation require us to enjoy the situation? That's the fun. And finally, mundaneness is that does the situation involve routine, automaticity, automatically, without even thinking, you have to keep doing your job. So that's done. Okay. Out of all these first five, that is your threat, stress, task, process, and fun, all they are related to big five. Big five, we call it ocean, open to experience, C for concern, E for extrovert, A for adventure, and N for neuroticism. That is, first threat is akin to disagreeableness, stress is akin to neuroticism, task is akin to conscientiousness, processing is intellect, fun is extraversion. Okay. Then the problem comes up, why a situation and situation that has been given to us, and we as a person converge together to create a perception. That is what the basic thing comes into play. There are three reasons for it. People form perception of situation as if they were coherent entities leading to similar judgment patterns. It means what? You think that the environment and you, or the situation and you, have got certain amount of relationship with you. That's what coherence. Coherence is in step, with togetherness. That is what coherence really means. Human perception modules for judging person and situation have evolved similarly, because we are all human, have evolved almost in the similar way. Individuality comes into play later on. That is, but as a human, we have got common consciousness, and that is what, that's why, so our perception has got some commonality with all of us around there as a human. People understand situation in terms of person present, their personality, and the social effects. Now you have got a situation, depending on your own personalities and the environment which you want to create, or the social engagement which you are living in. You want to convey certain message. That's the reason you are creating certain perception of your own. Okay. Mean that now, so that is, we have got, so when you look at these, first is threat, stress, task, processing, fun, and mundaneness. We call empirical taxonomy. Empirical means, first you remember we talked about diamonds. Diamonds were D for duty, I for intellect, A for adversity, M for mating, O for positivity, N for negativity, D for deception, and S for sociability. So this is what we are trying to follow. Based upon the big five, they are the five taxonomy. They call dominance, aggression, negative effect, achievement, situation stress, and positive effect. So now we have got this is what the perception has created, and this is what the effect it is going to have onto you. Okay. Similarly, since they call a lexical vocabulary, because our first language is probably our mother tongue, and we are trying to speak in English, so there will be a certain amount of they call L2 effect will be there on us. Certainly, based on English literature, they have developed a taxonomy called caption, and for German language they have got set 5, and for Hebrews they have created set 6. We will not talk about it. We take it for granted that we understand our language quite well. Lastly, They got a theory, got a SAP and SIS. SAP and SIS. That's good. SAP is disease avoidance, self-protection, mate seeking, mate retentivity, affiliation, kin care, and status. We'll just talk about what the SAP and SIP. And SIS is information certainty, future interdependence, and interdependence. This is what is. So what is empirical, as we talked about a bit. So this particular taxonomy has been developed for English, German, and Hebrews. Probably we in India, we have to think, our scientists and the psychologists have to think to develop this sort of taxonomy for our own language as well. Now, so there is a lexical for language, theory, situational affordance for adaptive problem, use of evolutionary theory. This is what is based upon this taxonomy. And situation interdependence scale means how is situation dependent on not one person, it is dependent on, because you cannot do anything alone. So that's why all this is what is available now. Then we talk about class. So we talked about first cues, then we talked about characteristics. Now we'll talk about class. Class are, how are these situations grouped in different class? Not very much work has been done. There's a lot of work yet to be done. One of the old classification they call interpersonal conflict. So any situation you take it will form in one of these categories: joint working and information exchange, intimacy and interpersonal relationship, recreation, traveling, ritual, sports, excesses, serving, trading. Okay, so this is about the class. So the three characters we talked: cues, characteristics, and the classes. Having done that, okay. Now so let's say you ring up your friend, and your friend tells you he is on duty. He is got certain amount of meeting with someone. So what does that mean? First and foremost, that simply means he's on duty. Very nice, great, because that's why he told you, I'll talk to you later, and I'm in a meeting. But it is not clear if the situation also involves intellect. Means does one need to think hard? Is he going for normal meeting where someone is going to pass information, or is it that he is going to be prepared for some answer certain question which requires intellect? Is he going to be criticized? Boss is going to fire him up for non-performance, or is going to praise him for his performance? Is the boss available? Any boss may be there. He is going to be friendly to him or pretty unfriendly to him. Is he going to praise for a good work? Probably yes or no. Negativity is information about pending layoffs looming onto him negatively, because as the situation going on in the present economic situation, you go to office, probably you may find you have been told, okay, tomorrow you don't have to come. That's selected. It may be the deception. Maybe sociality, that is it socializing? They may have a party for the complete company or the group of people in the work in the office. So though the situation is only one sentence has been told that I'm going to meet with my boss. Only one statement, that is the situation has been created. And that situation, only one thing, clarity has come that he is on duty. But other clarity are still missing. Who is going to make that? How do I perceive that? As an outsider? Or as a person who has been affected by the situation which has been created by the situation that problem that has been created by situation. It will affect both the individual himself and the person who is hearing it. So this is what the situation is. Now let's talk about we are just for clarity, since we are all I have been taking classes for SSB around there, and myself being at SSB as an assessor, as a psychologist around there, we do not have all these ideas that I'm talking to you today. These are all latest development, and unless we we update ourselves, until we think afresh, will remain outdated. Secondly, if until I am in a position to convey my thought process to my student today, where the information is available everywhere, so many institutes are running around there, so many people are talking about it. So now let's talk about, here is the situation. There's a TAT picture I've created. There's one kid, the boy in the storm. So the Q is, he is a person. Now here, look at the second one. He is in a thinking, he is in some state, he is in a bad mood. Third is, he is a mechanic is working onto his activity. A nurse is trying to pull a assumption on there. She is performing her role. Here a group of people are sitting and someone is standing, that's an event. And as a person, as a farmer who is looking at the sky, probably there's probably waiting for the as the rain has not come, probably he is still waiting. Would the rain come? God rain will come or not? So maybe harvesting. So this is the cue as far as looking at the picture is concerned. I'm not affected. I'm just looking till now, till this cue is concerned, I'm not at all affected. Now our effect comes back here. Characteristics. Now, since it is in storm, how am I going to save it? So it becomes adversity. He is in bad mood, so it becomes negative mood. He is performing his duty. So this is characteristic is his own duty. She is performing a role. He is a sociability. And here he is still looking at the sun, whether God will give rain or not. So the deception. Out of the replicable 6, this becomes both a threat. This creates a stress. This is the task which she has to do it. And it requires intellect because she is a professional. She has to handle with care what was she is carrying. This is the fun talking to the people around there. Here, looking at a crossing, if the cloud is coming, when will it come? He is looking at the sun and predicting probably should I go to farm or not. So he's trying to process that information now. So the farm situation being outside us, now it has come back to us. Our perception has started taking place here. And when I take the class, it is troubling because you have gone outside and it is troubling. Here it comes intimacy and personal relationship because the person, there is some elderly person is standing in front of him, and that's the time he may be his doctor, he may be father, he may be a person looking at him, that's what is there. He is doing a performing job, he is trading. He's a person, I'll perform a job, give me money. And the serving, she is performing a job, the serving. Here is a joint working in information exchange. Here is excesses. God is not very kind, God is stressed, there's no rain. And so that's excesses. So how whole situation is going to have effect. Okay, now let's talk about the WAT. The word is ability. Q is rule. Then characteristic, intellect. And discipline is the task, ability, you are going to perform a job. So that's a joint working and information exchange. Dirty is the state of mind. It's negativity. It creates a stress. It's a ritual. Adult is a person. He has to perform duty. And so he replaces replicable 6 is task. Joint working and information exchange. So now the situation, we are all at it. These are the cues which are given to, that's the original cue, which is available. From the characteristics of the cue, I'm trying to put my own perception onto it, and that perception, it creates a stress, and that this perception, again, you remember, we have got depending upon needs, we want to achieve something, and whatever situation has been created, I have to tackle the situation. So situation then gets converted into a problem, and that problem will have to be resolved. How do we resolve it? That is the topic of next discussion. So next discussion, we will try and talk about it. We have talked today, we have talked about situation. And after this situation, what is the different type of you can say different type of problem that is associated with. And it is so situation is associated with a crisis. Crisis is nothing but a problem. So what are the different types of problems are associated with it, and what are the methodology to create to solve those problems? And that is what the SSB is. Nothing more, nothing less. So ultimately what we have to think about it. So when any situation is given to you, this is not only especially SSB, in day-to-day life, every day we keep on facing this sort of problem, this sort of situation. And by knowing the methodology of situation, it will help us to interpret properly and restrict our wrong perception and help us in performing our job or solving those problems which is coming to us. In PAT, as far as SSB is concerned, it's a bigger problem. In WAT, problem has been reduced to a smaller problem. In SRT, it's the day-to-day activities. That is problem that we are facing, that is what we're trying to solve. So though with this situation definition, we have tried to talk in general, but is of great help to both who are trying to appear for SSB and those who are even not trying to appear for SSB. It's a general information which we must all have. Thank you. Hope you liked it. Thanks a lot.